Within our BizVision Conscious Business Academy, we have a number of pillars, and one of them is the conscious leader. Now, in my mind, there's no firm definition of such a position, although many will claim there is. It's a constantly evolving, and no more so than through the impact of COVID-19. I firmly believe that conscious leadership is the way forward for companies who want to have sustainable success. To achieve this is a development of what some would call soft skills that may be necessary. So it's time to chat to someone who's expert in this area. She's a senior leader in Capital Blue Cross, designs and leads development programs through her company Vision Accomplished, and is the author of Small Mistakes, Big Consequences. Develop your soft skills to help you succeed. She is Anne Corley Baum. Welcome, Anne.
Well, hello, Malcolm.
It's lovely to talk to you. You're in Pennsylvania and we're in north of England, but we're socially distanced, aren't we? Now, Anne, before we dive deeper into conscious leadership, tell us about your book and who's it for?
Well, our books are focused on behavior and helping people really understand how the things that they do have a great impact on how they can succeed in business. They really are for anybody, whether you're early in your career or well-developed or well-seasoned in your career. There's always an opportunity to better understand how your behavior impacts the way others perceive you and how that perception drives your ability to lead.
Fascinating. Now, I said in my opening piece that in my mind, conscious leadership will be key to business success in the future. What's your thoughts here?
Well, I think conscious leadership is a very important concept and very important to always be thinking about how the behavior of you, yourself, your company impacts not only your team members, but your community as a whole. And really keeping that top of mind is critically important to long-term success.
Definitely. People talk about people, planet, and profits in that, don't they? I think the conscious leader is likely need to be adept, though, at emotional intelligence and have a strong EQ. How do you view the need and value of emotional intelligence in leadership?
I think emotional intelligence is really critical to your ability to lead your team, your organization, and really take your group to the next level. Without a strong EQ, you are leaving yourself at really great risk to what others are doing and not perceiving what's going on within your organization. So I think it's critical to your success.
Excellent. Now, and it's a strange and challenging time for business leaders around the world. What should leaders be thinking about during this pandemic? And can you prioritize a few, please?
During the pandemic, I think it's incredibly important to think about that long-term focus of your organization and how you continue to bring your team members along toward that goal. Especially if your team members are dispersed, working from home, working remotely, it's that much more important to connect with them even more regularly than you would. Make sure your communication to them is clear, concise, and is regularly in place. And probably most importantly, even though I'm saying it as the third piece, really paying attention to the mental health of your employees. This is a trying time for everyone. People are juggling things they never planned to juggle. And as business leaders, it's important that we recognize the multiple hats that our employees are wearing right now, the stresses that are on them, and help them to recognize that their mental health is important and we're there to support them in any way that we can.
Yeah, well, and let's just stay with that, and because I think it's such an important aspect at the moment. Here in the UK, we're constantly hearing of stressed out people. They've got Zoom fatigue. They're worried about money. They're worried about being locked in, and so on. Now, the conscious leader is obviously, or should be, well aware of the well-being of his or her people that's working from home. How should a leader really go about supporting these people without being seen to be condescending or however? Yeah.
One of the things that I've been doing is asking employees what their day looks like, and then sitting back and listening, and not necessarily offering my opinion on how they should manage this, but really listening to learn and understand what the challenges are that they're facing. As a leader, when you step back and listen to your employees, not only do they greatly appreciate it because it shows that you value them, but you also really learn what's going on and challenging them personally, because each person has their different challenges, their different balancing acts. And once you hear that, then you can start to make suggestions and offer resources to them, and also step back and take to your broader leadership team what you've learned from your employees. So as a company, you can really focus on what sort of resources we can offer as a whole to help people succeed. But I think listening right now is more important than ever.
Yeah, yeah. And as somebody once told it many years ago, do it with 2 ears and 1 mouth, Malcolm. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a reason that we're wired this way.
Yes, I totally agree. I am, by the way, Anne, meeting people all over the world, and their process on working from home or looking after people work from home. I was with the CEO in Spain this morning. She's got an app in financial services. On Monday, all the team gets onto Zoom and they have a stand-up meeting. On Friday afternoon, they have a virtual drinks party. And anybody that dares mention the company or anything about work gets a slap on the wrist virtually. So they just talk about anything. She's creating a great community. And I think a lot of male leaders need to learn about that. Now, in your book, and just reminding everybody behind me is the URL to yourself and the book details. You mention empowerment a lot in your book. Do you think that too many leaders, though, play at empowerment, all the responsibility and none of the authority? What is true empowerment?
When you are empowering your team members, there are 3 key components to being successful. The first, and probably the hardest for many leaders, is trust. The second is training. And the third is communication. I think it's critically important that when you're empowering your folks, you have to recognize that they will make mistakes. And they will also not get to that result in the same way that you might. But as long as they're getting to that result and achieving it in a timely manner, that's okay. So many leaders, as you said, play at empowerment. They give somebody the assignment, and the instant it isn't going the way that the leader would prefer, they pull the rug out from under the person, pull that empowerment away. And as soon as you break that trust and throw somebody under the bus for not doing it the way you would, empowerment is dead. Your team members won't trust you. That's the most important thing. And then communicating clearly what the results are, checking in, not babysitting, but checking in to make sure progress is being made, and making sure that your team members have the training and resources they need to succeed. That's when you have the best opportunity for empowerment.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. And as I say, a lot of the CEOs have been talking to, particularly the male CEOs, have got a lot to learn in humanity and communication. Now, I'm personally glad that integrity seems to be coming back into business leadership. And I think it's part of the DNA of a conscious leader. Again, let's go back to your book and your thoughts in it on how a leader can not just show, but live sincerity and trustworthiness.
Integrity is a core component of the success of any leader. And when you have integrity, it builds trust with others. And without integrity, you will never become that person that is trusted by others. When you are demonstrating integrity in all that you do, not just saying something, but actually demonstrating and showing by your actions that what you say is what you mean, then people start to believe you, they trust you, they follow you. Trust is a very difficult thing to gain and a very easy thing to lose. That's why it's important that you are regularly having open, honest communication with your team members, listening to what they're saying, making a safe environment where they can come to you with issues that they're facing and where they're questioning why something is happening, and then always being true to your word. I think another key component of it is being accountable when you make a mistake. And nobody is perfect. Whether you're the CEO or the frontline person in a company, everybody makes mistakes. You need to own up to your mistakes and make good, correct those, learn from them, and also allow people in your organization to do so and forgive them for it, as long as they're learning from those mistakes and not repeating the same thing over and over again. That we like to call a blunder. That becomes a performance issue. But in general, integrity is one of, if not the most important characteristic of leader, one of the top two.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And as I say, I'm so glad it's coming back. And I am on these journeys around the world, meeting lots of leaders with integrity. And again, that they are glad that it's coming back. And final question. Now, I like to give 3 wishes to all my guests. And I'm going to give you 3 wishes for the future of good leadership. What are your 3 wishes?
Well, my first wish for the future of good leadership is that integrity becomes what everybody puts at the core of their leadership, and that it's not second, third, fifth, or 10th, but that is the leading piece. The second wish that I have for the future of leadership is excellent two-way communication. So not just dictating to people and telling them what you want them to do, but communicating with and listening to employees and team members so that together you're succeeding. And the third wish that I have for the future of leadership is that we really focus on how the work that we do has an impact, not just on our company, but our community at large. And that we really think about the best whole success as opposed to just the individual success of ourselves or our company.
Well, brilliant 3 wishes, Anne. Well done. Thank you. I've been talking to Anne Corley Baum. She is the author of the book that's behind me here, and along with her UR Wells website, and a true passionate believer in good leadership. And thanks for the brilliant interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.